about 5:40, 5 minutes to sunset. Because it came out a bit late, a lot of the brilliant coloring is gone. But you still have some fading orange along with nice blue, so there's a little bit of coloring left. I wanted to come out today because the temperature has increased to almost 50 degrees Fahrenheit right now. That's not so bad. And I also thought of a succinct topic to make a video on. Succinct topics are best for videos, so it's a good match. That succinct topic is thinking of how I believe people should function in today's routine, boring, largely westernized societies. In order to live a happy life in today's society, a fulfilling, interesting life, I feel that one must search out the unexpected. A lot of life today in our cookie cutter societies and cultures and our basic routines are very much run by expected behaviors. This makes life very boring, and I would argue can lead to psychological distress. Some people would argue that routine makes people more secure, more stable, and thus less prone to emotional distress. I suppose ultimately how you feel about this issue will come down to the kind of thinker that you are. If you are an abstract thinker, you will most likely favor the unexpected. If you are a concrete thinker, however, that thrives on largely detail, you will probably take comfort in the planned life that modern society offers. A lot of people give graduation speeches and they tell students largely the same thing, and that is to essentially go out of their comfort zone. They do this for good reason. I think because they acknowledge that it is only in the unexpected that you find adventure. You're not going to tell a bunch of young 20-year-olds that their life is going to be boring and monotonous, filled with a bunch of repetitive tasks that it is now being argued will be replaced by artificial intelligence. At least in searching for the unexpected, you may never be comfortable, but you will be, I would argue, happier and in the natural state of the way the human brain functions. I do not believe that the brain is very well equipped to dealing with the strict pattern-like nature of our modern society. There may be patterns in unexpected events, but at least those patterns are harder to define and therefore are more interesting. I know a lot of creative people have what you would deem more non-pattern-like lives, but even in their day-to-day lives and their creations, you do see patterns. So I believe patterns cannot be avoided, but if you, to the best of your ability, try to obscure your pattern of living, I believe that for at least some people, that would lead to a more happy life. I do not know what percentage of the population could be said to have an abstract thinking pattern, but I believe the worst thing you can do for someone that has an abstract thinking pattern, like myself, is to give them a routine, a pattern that they follow from day to day. This ultimately would essentially kill their mind. I believe the reason that most abstract thinkers gravitate to science and philosophy and art and music is because there are creative elements within those subjects. There are, without question, creative elements in things like engineering. However, the degree of those creative elements does not match the creative elements of, let's say, a video maker. So, that's just a relatively easy idea to digest, to understand. It's not very difficult. And I believe that it is uncontroversial. I do not believe you can easily poke holes in that idea. So, it is most likely correct. And at the end of the day, whether people want to accept it or not, all we can ever strive to do is try to be most likely correct. Let's see if there's anything else. That's some really nice pink coloring now. The orange is turned to pink as it gets a little bit darker. And the blue has also lost brilliance, which is interesting. I have to put my hand down because it kind of hurts right now. If you would like an example of how the world is more predictable than you would like to believe, just look to the last time you felt surprised by something. If you have trouble remembering the last time you were truly surprised by something, you are living an uninteresting life. You are living a life of pattern and routine. This is a good example of how people like to fool themselves into thinking that things are more unexpected than they are. If we look at criminal trials, I know in America we say people are innocent of a potential crime until they are proven guilty in a court of law, until they are judged by their peers in a court of law. However, how often do you find yourself surprised by the outcome of a criminal trial? The answer is most likely not often at all. So, it is very clear to see that life is much more routine and the outcomes are much more expected than we give proper thought to. Same thing can be said for things like cancers. There are cases where people beat a cancer fully and never have the problem again. And there are cases where people live much longer than doctors say they will probably live. However, much more common, or commonly, doctors' prognosis come to be true. However, maybe just as a product of the human mind, we tend to not think of those times. We tend to think of the outlier cases. We tend to cherish the unexpected, which is further evidence that the unexpected is actually what makes people happy. It's funny. You hear all these gurus, these motivational people talk about how to be happy and successful in life. But they don't really drill down as much as I do. They speak a lot in generalities and don't give examples or full examples to support their one statement that they roll with essentially their entire careers. It's almost like they lack the ability to extend their thoughts. I don't know if this is intentional in the sense that when you try to extend your thoughts, you may lose some of your audience. But I don't see a purpose in making videos or communicating with people on a large scale if you are not willing to extend your ideas. That's a common theme in all my videos. The extension of my ideas, which usually leads to other ideas. That's probably a trait of the philosopher, is the extension of ideas. That's a trait of the abstract thinker. And hopefully it's interesting to enough people to capture a large audience. I think in my case, I have been able to slowly capture an audience, and that's pretty awesome. So with that, the dwindling light, that will be the end. I checked for the moon on the other side, and I didn't see it. But I'll give it one more look. I think it's cool that countries have renewed interest in the moon. I just hope that it is for the right reasons and not purely economical or militaristic in intentions. It would be nice if it was mostly done for scientific purposes, but I doubt this is the case. But I guess you take what you can get. And with that, I will end.